Thank you very much for watching this video. Before we begin, I wanted to include a disclaimer, as I include in my about section as well as in the description of this video. All of my readings are for entertainment purposes only. They are never, ever meant to diagnose, treat, or otherwise have any influence upon your own medical issues or situations that you may have. I always encourage everyone to make their own sound decisions, including legal matters, financial matters, and every other matter in your own life. These are for entertainment purposes only. As these are general tea leaf readings, again, it makes sense, therefore, that some of this information will resonate with you and some of it may not. You may find that some applies and some doesn't. That is completely normal and to be expected, as these are general tea leaf readings. So again, take what you will and leave what you don't, and simply enjoy your reading and hope that you find it informative and insightful. Thank you. Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you probably know by now, my name is Sarah, and yes, I am a coffee drinking tea leaf reader. Hi, it's great to see you again. I am going to apologize again and be a stereotypical Canadian that I am and say I'm sorry. It was delay upon delay after delay for the past couple of weeks, and I just could not get the tea leaf reading published for March the 27th and the weeks of March 27th and April 3rd. I just could not get around to doing it. I tried a couple times, timing was not right, so I'm doing it today. I am recording this tea leaf reading on Monday, April the 10th of 2023. As always, everything that I do on this channel is for entertainment purposes only, so again, please take what you will and leave what you don't. So even though this tea leaf reading is retroactive, meaning that we're going to be looking at the past 2 weeks, I still wanted to honor my commitment to this channel as well as to you and get caught up, essentially. I do have a couple other videos that I do want to record for this channel that I just have not done as yet. However, I am fully intending to do that within the next week or so at the very, very, very latest. So I am recording this tea leaf reading. I need to record the next tea leaf reading for this week and the following week, being the weeks of April 10th and April 17th. Kind of a good number. And we will go on from there and see what the universe would like us to know for those 2 upcoming weeks. But even though we are looking at this retroactively, again, I want to honor my commitments here to you and to the universe and to this channel. I was wondering, how could I go about doing it as well as possible? What's the best way? And today it came to me. Simple, just do a tea leaf reading like I normally do. So we would be reading the tea leaves as though this is for March 27th and April 3rd, those weeks. So it is chronologically like how I always read tea leaves. And so the rim is looking at March 27th, and as we continue down through the sides, eventually becoming the week of last week, April 3rd, and then the base obviously heading into this past weekend and this weekend. And also, before I forget, while I'm thinking of it, happy Easter to you and your family, and also Easter Monday if you are celebrating today. So whatever God wants us to know for the past couple weeks. So I hope this reading is of help. And I thank you so much again for all of your continued support, your patience, and as well as your understanding while I just do my best to do my best and figure things out, even though I'm posting videos with a delay. So thank you so much, and I really hope that you find this reading to be helpful. So I am, as always, going to be including pictures of this tea leaf reading in this video, likely at the end of the video. However, for now, I'll quickly show you on screen, as though you were a client sitting in front of your screen, as I would be reading for you. These are the tea leaves for this reading. It looks like overall it was an incredibly busy 2 weeks. There was a one main event or situation. The universe, again, we're looking backwards, but it's still for present time as well. But there was one main event or scenario that is being presented, as well as another smaller event or situation that was just not anywhere near as important or significant, but still present. But essentially, looking back, there was just a lot of information, a lot of different pieces of news, a lot of different smaller events or scenarios taking place. Depending on how you count, 13 to 14 different smaller events or scenarios. We have this one main event or situation that is being presented that we need to be aware of. So it looks like there would have been a great amount of information, a great amount of different scenarios taking place. Basically that we would have been sort of pulled in 13 or 14 or 15 or so different directions all at the same time while having this one main focus. It looks like the week began, or those 2 weeks rather, began very busily. There was a lot happening. I would say though, however, there was 3 main events or scenarios taking place at the start of it where things were calm and clear and quiet, and we were happy with that, and or we wanted things to get moving a bit more. Now, there would have been like gold and silver. There would have been 1 main event and 2 smaller events, which also would have been the case with many smaller other events or scenarios taking place as well. At this main event, I mean, overall, generally speaking, there was time for us to take for ourselves. There was time where we were able to balance ourselves between being incredibly busy and also having time to pace ourselves. This main event or situation began fairly significantly, and it continued to gain in importance or significance, got even busier. Overall, we would have known where we stood. However, there was a great amount of conversations, especially heading into this past weekend. That said, there was a lot of nurturing and guarding, a lot of protection around those conversations that were taking place. Now, quickly looking into this past weekend, heading into this week, I'm very curious to see what the tea leaves are going to be, what God is going to be showing through the tea leaves for this week and next week. Because based on what I'm seeing in the base, there are a lot of unknowns. Essentially, looks like we're going to be in for an incredibly busy time as well. So looking into some detail, this whole event or scenario likely began taking shape later on the Monday and heading into the Tuesday of 2 weeks ago. Person, place, or thing with the letter J, but likely 2 individuals were associated with that. That involved a document or paperwork of some kind. Transformation, new beginnings, change, a new start, and that was regarding paperwork, a document of some kind, and things were going very quickly. There may also have been a Taurus or an Aries connection with that. This was regarding one thing in particular. Positive movement forward as well regarding that, as well as messages, news, and or information about the home and or family. Happy face. There may have been some of us who were thinking of moving. It may not have been exactly the right time, but it is being shown. Taking some time out to really contemplate that, though, is stability as well. A helpful individual present in that whole scenario. Really taking a leap of faith and going for whatever it is that you want to have. Involved in that scenario, there is also a person, place, or thing with the letter C that's involved, and independent thought, as well as some surprises regarding that, as well as a surprise, and likely a Cancerian connection, those qualities and or characteristics of that sign. It was either that, but also quite likely someone who is that sign as well, but definitely a sense of stability. There was also some kind of very positive news taking place at the beginning of that week. Likely unconventional stability, but also some kind of house or property move or something to do with house and or property in some way, shape, or form. Sense of jubilation going for whatever it is that you want to have. Action, speed, and momentum taking place. Communication between 2 women specifically that was involved in this scenario. Open communication between them. A form of learning. A lot of communication, and for the sake of not being repetitive, I probably won't say that again. But at the beginning of that week, there was, what I'm seeing, there were multiple conversations between 2 individuals, and it was repeated at least 3 different times so far, just at the very top of this event or scenario. We were right. As soon as I said that, I looked down, and there are 3 different events or scenarios where there's 2 people talking again. So definitely there were a lot of communications, a lot of discussions rather being had at the beginning of March 27th that week. There were a lot of people talking. So, I can concur. I had many conversations that week, the beginning of that week. I can concur that. Yes, I agree with that. There was definitely reassurance regarding that whole scenario at the beginning of that week. A lot of reassurance being had, and a lot of happiness though too. And a sense of really reaching for whatever it is that we wanted to have, going for it, taking aim, going for what we want, essentially. A lot of happiness. Leap of faith. Person, place, or thing with the letter U that's involved, and that could very well have to be related to someone who is a Scorpio. And if not that, then a sense of someone who is a Scorpio or those qualities are present. As well as the letter T, possibly letter I, but likely T. A lot of happiness. N-U-E. A lot of unconditional love, support, loyalty, and commitment, protection, guardianship, those qualities being present. There was some kind of conclusion that was taking place at the beginning of that week. It was positive, though, and it heralded, essentially, new beginnings, new opportunities. That's where the letter E specifically is involved. Maybe even the letter V may have applied to you in some way. Taking time out for own self-care, yes, but inner wisdom, taking time out for yourself, whether it's through meditation, listening to music, whatever it is, but really taking time out for your own self. Wisdom, learning new things. Really taking time out for your own self, but also it's more of going within, a time of going within, receiving divine messages, divine news, being open and aware to that. Person, place, or thing with the letter Y and J again. And those letters rather involve helpful individual, some surprises, independent thought, possibly some money as well, forward movement, and a new beginning that was being contemplated, a new idea, something that was being thought about or discussed. This hadn't taken place yet. I know this past weekend was Easter weekend. Today is Easter Monday, but there may have been some kind of new beginning, creativity. If I'm seeing someone holding a child, so that being said, it may have been someone may have been welcoming a new member of the family around that time. If so, yay, wonderful, congratulations. If not an actual physical child, then it was the qualities and or characteristics of a new beginning, a new start, a new creative project of some kind, but some kind of new beginning, a new creative project was rather was being formed, something along those lines. So this is where, like, again, tea leaf reading is literal, figurative, literal and figurative. Some kind of fast-paced movement with that, which would make sense in either scenario. And the letter T, yet again, that one may also be referencing Scorpio too, someone who is that sign, likely, or those qualities of that sign being present. It's very much a harmonious and loving scenario, and the letter U and or J being present again, but I would say more U than J, but I'm saying J in case it makes sense too. A happy scenario too. Wisdom and learning involved. A helpful individual, a woman with a prominent nose. This may be someone who is here physically, and a departed loved one. There's at least one dog in here, a little puppy. So unconditional love, support, loyalty, and commitment. Of course, whenever I see dogs or pets, usually it represents those qualities of those signs, of those symbols to me, but it can also represent that actual animal. So if you have had a little tiny dog with little floppy ears, I know this sounds very generic, but this is what I'm seeing, then your dog is likely coming through the tea leaves to say hello. It was more of I'm seeing this dog here in particular as being rather petite. So again, please take that for what you will. I wish it could be more specific, but that's what I'm seeing. If an actual child was not born to someone watching 2 weeks ago or even last week, then there is certainly a sense in here of a new beginning. I keep seeing children being lifted up, like parents are holding a child, looking at the child like, oh, yay. If that's not the case, then there was definitely a sense of new beginnings, new creative projects, new beginnings, new opportunities, something along those lines being present repeatedly. So these could very well have been different individual scenarios that's how I would interpret that as being, because I keep seeing them in different locations in the cup in this one main eventer scenario. Keep seeing repeatedly new beginnings, new creative projects. I probably won't say it again for the sake of being repetitive, but I keep seeing it. We have yet again another heart. So I would say heading into this past week, the week of April the 3rd, a lot of loving energy, a lot of loving and harmoniousness being present. That was some kind of new beginning, a new creative opportunity, new creative project of some kind, likely involving a Scorpio. If not a Scorpio, then the qualities of that sign again, a new creative beginning, something new is starting. Introspection, intuition, things along those lines. That involves likely the letter M and a multi-part opportunity. So in other words, it was not just one thing, it was two different aspects likely involving in that scenario where there was a new beginning, and it's a very loving scenario. It is a very loving scenario. Helpful people involved. A lot of involving a lot of concentration too, and maybe even someone who is a Gemini. Now, I'm no astrologer, and this proves it. I am so sure. People will please correct me in the comments. What is the other planet that is ruled by Mercury? I know it's Gemini. What other sign is ruled by Mercury? I know Gemini is one of them, and I am so sure Gemini rules another sign. I am just not remembering it right now. So again, my apologies. This proves I'm not. No. I'm no astrologer, but I'm seeing the astrological symbol for Gemini, or rather, I'm sorry, for specifically Mercury. So there is something, some connection with Mercury in that individual scenario that's involved. So the qualities of that planet, I know that's a lot of communication, travel, and electronics. That's governed by Mercury as well. And I would say messages, news, and or information that's involved in some way associated with Mercury itself. I know Mercury is known to be a messenger, but again, take that for what you will. There is a lot of goodness coming. Is a lot of goodness coming regarding that, though, and as well as the letter Y and C, maybe G, but definitely Y and C, maybe G, and the letter S. Now, there's also the number 3 that is associated with that, and the letter L. So lots of letters, and E. Again, I just keep saying it. There's a lot of new beginnings, a lot of creativity, creative projects, new beginnings. Ideas are being had. Ideas are being formed. Letter F as well. F and E. Those letters specifically, the F and E and Y and number 3, specifically, we're creating a scenario where there was a thought, something new was being contemplated, likely about the homeland or family in some way, in shape or form, and that ultimately led to a new opportunity of some kind. So again, please let me know if this makes sense to you, if this resonates with you. There really was also an opportunity to turn the key. So whenever I see keys or keyholes, to me that just represents, much like other symbols like an axe, you have what you need in order to open the lock. You have the key. We just have to put the key into the lock and turn it. So with a little bit of effort, to exert a little bit of effort, we get exactly what we want to have. We literally open the door. So I'm seeing a key here. So that makes me very excited. So it looks like it was just taking a little bit of effort to unlock that opportunity and to get what we want essentially from it. And it looks like it resulted in a very nice scenario where we received a lot of good things. Number 4 potentially involved. Letter C, and maybe even the letter Y and E again repeated. Very happy scenario. Created a new beginning. A lot of helpful people. A lot of happiness. A lot of good things, situations taking place that are positive. Letter H being shown in here. Likely regarding someone. And 2 different aspects involving writing. There was 2 different aspects. There may have been one report, one document that involved writing, something that needed to be signed or written. There involved writing, and there was one other aspect related to that. It's interesting because there's 2 of them, and then there was 2 of them. Ultimately, there were 4, but it was like 2 parts and 2 parts. 2 parts. 2 parts of the same and 2 other parts of the same. So 4 in total. But one of them specifically regarded a document or something, paperwork. Something was being signed. Ultimately, that led to some money coming in and positive news and information and messages regarding that. Helpful people, someone in a position of authority helping other people. That's what that is related to, as well as a small surprise. There's small surprises throughout here. That's definitely one of them. There's likely someone who is a departed loved one who is helping with that scenario, or who was helping with that scenario. And it does look like a good situation. There is a happy face there. That individual likely was a fire sign. Now, if that individual is not a departed loved one and is someone still here, then also a fire sign and someone who is very wise. Very, very wise. So now we're sort of at the halfway mark here. So now we're approaching, I would say, around April the 3rd. Action, speed, momentum, working with other people, partnerships, that is all related. Some kind of new opportunity being contemplated, or was being contemplated, but really working with other people. Also, W, person, place, or thing. Independent thought. thinking uniquely, thinking differently, happiness, getting things organized in some way, shape, or form, whatever that may be, purging closets or fridges or whatever the case is, but getting things organized. Letter S, J, happiness and creativity. Really going for whatever it is that we want to have. Also action, speed, and momentum, and happiness too. A unique scenario, but a good one, and that's related to the letter H that I mentioned a few minutes ago with the 4 parts to it. Going down a little bit further, at that point in time, there was more conversations, like I said at the beginning of this reading, more conversations and discussions, ideas, thoughts, and words taking place more so starting last week. Things became a little bit less obvious, a bit more up in the air in the way that you could word that. Also, reassurance regarding or and or why. And again, taking time out for your own self, introspection. A man who wore a hat. So, don't know if that may make sense to you specifically, and if so, wonderful, great. If not, well, someone who wears a hat, someone who is protected no matter what is happening, someone who's very wise, the ability to go where you need to go regardless of the weather conditions around you, protection. This is where we start getting into the nurturing aspect as well that's involved in this whole scenario. A lot of new ideas, thoughts, and words being contemplated, protection regarding that specifically. Things lining up, getting ready to take off, getting ready to change a scenario, a new beginning of some kind, to more creativity. Positive movement forward too, being uninhibited. I'm actually seeing a kangaroo, so I've never seen one before. If I have, I don't remember seeing one. I think I may have seen one once. So this could very well have some kind of Australian connection, potentially. Things becoming less specific and less obvious to us, but still a lot happening. Just a lot less obvious. Things are not quite as clear to us. But still, very positive, a lot of unconditional love, support, loyalty, and commitment. A lot of thinking, a lot of talking, a lot of helpful people with conversations. Love and harmoniousness. Messages, news, and or information regarding specifically some kind of abundance and prosperity. And that involves working with other people. And that involves a new idea, a new opportunity of some kind. That led to person, place, or thing with the letter S and or 5 and or a new beginning. S and or 5 and a new beginning. There may have been a Libran connection. Going down further now, we're at the base. There's a lot that we are not supposed to know at this point in time. Big surprises. One in particular. Busy time. Very, extremely busy. One area in particular has that main surprise. Then we have the larger section where we still don't know very much. And like 10% that is a bit more clear. So I would say that based on what I'm seeing here, pacing ourselves is a major message. And the fact that we're not supposed to know everything heading into this week, as at this point in time. We'll see what the next 2 leaf reading reveals. But based on in here and what I'm seeing, again, some of us are thinking of moving with the letter C that's involved, a new opportunity and a new conclusion, something new and something ending, which makes sense if we do move house or do move location, there is a new beginning and there is a conclusion at the same time, essentially. So that makes sense to me. But there's also the letter H being shown in here again. Now it could be the letter N, but it's clearly the letter H to me. There's also multiple opportunities that are associated with that, again, which makes sense with a house move. A lot of unconditional love, support, loyalty, and commitment, guardianship, protection, companionship. Abundance and prosperity, that is regarding the home and or family. Letter N, that relates to 2 people talking. A lot of love and harmoniousness, a lot of protection and guardianship and companionship. Some place or thing, and the letter E and U. U-E-W. This is all related to the part that is very densely covered that we just can't see. The major surprise. Now, this major surprise, it does appear to me to be forming a couple different things. One is a house, so some kind of home, a new house. To me, houses just simply mean that you're moving. It may have a different meaning to you, and if so, that's wonderful and that's great. Myself, seeing a house and tea leaf reading means to me simply that we are moving. Now, it also looks like it is also forming a tree with 4 different trunks, which to me just means massive abundance. So whatever this is referencing, to me, it's either house and or abundance. Huge either way. It's very, very large, and it is quite large, and it's very much a surprise. I can say that in addition to everything that I have said that surrounds that image, there's also a lot of working with other people. Sagittarius connection. Either the qualities of that sign, like a spiritual visionary, or someone who is that sign. Letter J, letter C, new opportunities, new beginnings, people in close communication, people learning, wisdom, knowledge, creativity, new beginnings, getting things organized, tidied up, cleansed, happiness, having fun, protection and guardianship and companionship. Lots of thinking and talking. A lot of guardianship, companionship, reassurance. Letter S and or G, conclusions. That regards the number 5. 5, S, and G are something to do with the house. I find that very intriguing. It's so well formed, even though it's a huge surprise. If you're thinking of moving, or if you're in the process of moving, it looks like it's going to be a very good scenario. It's just that there's a lot of unknowns that we're just not supposed to know about yet, whatever the scenario is regarding, whether it's a house or otherwise. It's a big surprise. So curious to see what comes up in the next tea leaf reading for this week and next week. And I'm going to leave that there for now. That was a lot of information. So thank you so much, and I hope that you found that to be interesting. And here, as promised, I am including some of the pictures from this week's tea leaf reading. I hope that you can enjoy them, and this way you get to see the leaves that I was looking at for this reading. I do appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to watch my videos. If you haven't yet already subscribed to my channel, please do consider subscribing and to ring that bell for future updates, and even giving this video a like and leaving a comment in the comment section below. These all seem very small, but they really help this channel to grow. Thank you so much. See you soon.